Hi, this is Bill. So on this continued lessons I've been doing, I would like to share with you how you could basically combine techniques in software architecture, specifically in ServiceNow. And what we'll be adding today that is very useful to improve performance and scalability in having database calls or third-party integrations using the queuing server. So before we go to a deep dive in discussing queuing in ServiceNow, I would like to explain to you how I created the code from the ground up. And I initially created an entity. So let me expand this script editor, implementing object-oriented programming principles, establishing incident entity to standardize the naming conventions, and also providing best practices, implementing properties within the incident entity. Now, the next class I've created is the response object. So the response object includes a standard response, reusable response that you could basically utilize and can accept any type of data, ensuring that you return the respected results and the message, and if necessary, is converting it to JSON in response to the object expecting the desired results. Now, we also created a global logger where you could basically just pass the message if it's successful or not, centrally locating inside the system logs a formatted message where you could basically pass the class object that you created, the method name, and of course, the message that you would like to convey. And as we have created the base objects, you will see here that we have utilized the object, the extends object, using the BaseLogger as the parent class. And on this base repository, we are creating an abstraction layer, implementing polymorphism as we create the standard functions from create, update, and underscore log event. Now, the inheriting class, which is incident repository, can now basically override the base class using JavaScript techniques, and also adding a new functionality, which is get incident record. So further, we are reusing the functionality from the base repository and also adding a get functionality. And as you basically go deeper on this incident repository class, since this is a layer that basically calls functionalities in behalf of the database, and this is where the queuing technique starts. So on the create function under the incident repository, we are initially using the log events from the BaseLogger class, which is a parent class of the base repository. And this is where we implement queuing techniques, where we register the event and pass the necessary object to the queuing server. And after successfully passing it, we create a return object that the data or the entity has been added to the queue. And in response, we are validating that we have successfully started a queuing call. Now, let us move forward to the incident service. Now, this incident service basically implements dependency injection, as you can basically create multiple services, and eventually we are representing one, and now creating a function that basically calls the incident entity. And as we pass the data from the calling body, now we could basically pass the information to the repository layer. Now, let us move forward on event registration. So initially, what you saw in the repository is we are calling the event queue. Now we need to create a function, as you can see here, that we are registering a function that will be called in the repository layer. So this incident.database create is also found on this global function that we have created, both for the creates and also the update. So now as we call the function, one of the great things in ServiceNow is we could basically register this event into a specific queue. Now we could basically prioritize and maximize accordingly, having separate queues on each transaction that you are creating, further improving performance and ensuring the success of your event calls. Now, as we move forward, in every event name corresponds to a script action. So now from the queuing server, once the event name has been picked up, then this will run. So you can see from a service layer on creating or updating data into the the database or third-party call, we can now run the script, further decoupling at the same time, ensuring that our transactions is successful using ServiceNow queuing techniques. So the main advantages of queues is the out-of-the-box retries, implementing repetitive retry calls from the source caller or the event caller, ensuring the transaction is successful without timing out. And this will be the same on update incident record, ensuring that the update is successful. Now, putting the code into test, we have used Script Include, where we have managed to call the incident service, passing the data to the service layer, printing the results, ensuring that we're getting the correct outcomes. And as we have executed, we have successfully logged the results both from the script's background, also in the system logs, and also in the event logs. So as you can see, in a single platform, ServiceNow provides different capabilities like the queuing server, service-side JavaScript calls, system logs in combination to best coding practices like object-oriented programming, repository pattern, service-oriented architecture with queuing techniques. I hope you find this useful and follow for more for software architecture techniques in the ServiceNow platform using JavaScript. Thank you so much.